they're basically saying whatever you do, we don't care, but just finish before June.
Exactly. Hi guys, welcome to Everything Thai Football Friday Night Talk with me, Pote.
And I'm Lorenzo. So this is our first episode of the show. We came from a Facebook page focusing on the news around Thai football and some graphics and highlights as well.
Yes. So a little bit of background of us. So I'm working in the football industry for almost 4 years now. Also co-founder of Everything Thai Football. Very excited to be here and delivering you facts and news all around it on Thai football.
Okay, so myself, I'm working with the league at the moment, and I'm very passionate about football, Thai football especially, and my past experience is working with the FA for a couple of years and with AFC for a couple of years as well. And we are doing this show to bring Thai football news and some in-depth discussion closer to you. Hopefully we can start some community and fans so that we can share ideas and maybe start some discussion about some interesting topics about Thai football on a weekly basis.
Yeah. So without further ado, we would like to delve into the very first topic, which has been a trending topic on Thai football today. So obviously it's concerned about the restarting of the Thai league.
Yeah, so good news first. As everybody following the news, I think it's clear that the football is coming back in February after pausing I think for about a month. Right? So a little bit of timeline there. So the league was stopped from the club meeting actually collectively decided that due to the situation around COVID-19 at the beginning of the year and some measures and announcement by the city majors or the government couldn't really facilitate the team to play the league at the moment, so they agreed to postpone the league and all the matches scheduled in January. In Thai League 3, however, was a different case. The club decided to cut short the season, which is actually I think the last 4 or 5 games remaining, but they feel that it was no longer appropriate to play games at the point of time, so the league was cut short and moved into the second phase of the competition.
Right.
Yeah, so after that I think we really had a lot of pressure coming in, from all sides.
Yeah, so obviously fans are eager to know and to learn of how the FA and also the Thai league were going to manage this unprecedented situations concerning the resumption of the Thai league despite this second wave of COVID outbreak. And I understand that Thai league has been working very hard alongside the government sectors, especially Sawakor, to come up with a plan for the game for Thai league to return as soon as possible. So the meeting panned it out in the past, especially this week. And we had a positive response from the government today. So what's happening and what's on that front?
So just to back up a little bit, so when we actually announced the postponement, I think there were a lot of negative comments. Why can't you just run the league without fans and such? So a lot of pressure was piling up for the league to do something, and we as the league organizers, we are actually very frustrated that we cannot play matches, especially in January, which is considered the best time I think to play football.
Yes.
Right, and the best time for fans to travel around the country, maybe catch a game in Chiang Mai, have a cold beer, and watch the match. So I think that's something that didn't really happen, and we really regret it, but safety of the players and the teams and also the fans have to come first. But right after the announcement of the postponed games, we immediately start working on the plans, how what is the option that we have right now, from playing behind closed door in usual home and away format, which I think would be the most beneficial for all the teams, considering they don't have to spend huge amount of money coming into a bubble or hosting a centralized venue that is a little bit disconnected
Right.
from the community.
Yeah.
I think that's some options that we discussed, and actually both of them were on the table when we started talking to the government.
Right.
So first, we started talking to the Ministry of Tourism and Sports. They oversee professional sports organization throughout the country, and when we presented them with the plan, I think they were not really keen on restarting the league so early. Yeah, because at that time they were a little bit busy with some other international event. I think it was the badminton that was played in Muang Thong, Thani, right?
Yeah.
So, but we kept pushing, saying that we cannot wait any longer. We got a league to finish. It's been a long time for this season, and I think everybody just wants it, to go all the way through. So we had a second meeting with them, and we convinced them with the plan that the first option that should be discussed should be a home and away format where teams can be allowed to travel. It still give some sense of a league,
Right.
which is maybe different when you host it in a bubble or in a centralized venue. You will not get to see some of the iconic stadium anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that was the intention, how to get it started. The second time they were a little bit more relaxed after they really understand of our urgency and also our commitment to make this happen again, and the club willingness to restart and do everything to make sure that we'll play the game safely and not cause any trouble for the government.
And all in accordance with the rules and regulation as will be set out by Sobok or the central government unit overseeing this activities on COVID-19 measures.
Yeah, exactly. So after the meeting with the Ministry of Sports and Tourism, right? So we were invited to present the plan, to the, I think in Thai they're called Sabakor, right?
Yeah.
But in English, I'm not sure. COVID Command Center, something.
Yeah,
right? So,
sort of that. Yeah.
We presented the plan on Thursday, which is actually the day that we are filming this.
Yeah.
And they were really positive. I think part of it is because the chairman of the committee is actually very, he follows Thai league very well. Let's say even before we introduce ourselves, he actually said that, I didn't have anything to watch on the weekend, so I'm glad you guys are here and starting the discussion to bring it back. So that was really, an icebreaker for us, since we were a little bit worried that maybe he doesn't understand the nature of football. But that being said, so he was really open, and we explained to him, the games will be held, unfortunately, behind closed door for the remainder of the season. So.
But just to pause on that. So I know the we are all aware now that obviously when we return, the league will be played behind closed door. But in your discussion with the government counterpart today, is there a possibility in the coming future when the COVID cases in Thailand lowers down, is there an opportunity where the government mentions that you may have fans back at the stadium in a certain percentage of the full capacity? Was there mentioned anything on this?
Of course, I think there's a plan to do it, but at the moment, I think our intention is to get it running again. So we didn't want to sound a little bit too pushy, saying that we want the fans back by this time or this time. But we do have a plan. I mean, like the guidelines and everything to accommodate when the fans can get back. But unfortunately, I think at this time, the decision to play it behind closed door, I think it also came from the government themselves, as they knows that an average Thai league match can gather around 6,000 people. If you have like some derby games, it goes easily up to 10,000. So they didn't want to risk anything, but they understand that the football need to get going now. So the conclusion came that it has to be behind closed door, at least for the time being. So hopefully, if things getting better towards March. Maybe we can get to see some percentage of the fans getting back. Similar to when we restarted in September last year. So I think that could be a possibility.
So definitely you guys reached a conclusion today with the government for the return of the leagues, and the dates are I understand that it's already been set. Can you I think the fans are excited to learn that what dates are being planned.
So the dates for the resumption of the league, we want to restart it gradually. So we'll start with the rescheduled matches between Chiang Rai United and Port FC. This is a long overdue match. Supposed to happen in the
end of last year.
But didn't happen because Chiang Rai was still in quarantine, and they came out. They couldn't train during that 14 days, so we had to accommodate them to move the match, and this happened. So it's already long overdue. We wanted to clear that first thing, and then we move on to the FA Cup round of 16. So that Chiang Rai match will happen on 31st of January, and on the 3rd of February we will play the FA Cup round of 16, and on the 6th and 7th the league will resume as a full engine running now.
Okay, so the second leg will truly commence on the 6th and 7th of February.
Correct. Okay. So the plan is still to produce a signal for all the remaining matches. Either you can watch it on the free TV channels, or you can follow your club Facebook page or social media channels. They will have the games live streamed. And good news is that with the FA Cup round 16, we are also starting to produce a signal for all the remaining matches.
That sounds great. All right.
So I think that's some positive news, and I'm not gonna dive into further details on how the match gonna be arranged, the traveling, how's it gonna be done, the COVID-19 testing. I think that is something that we are still discussing with the clubs. Obviously, there are plans in place, but we need to convince them to also buy into the plan and really follow through with the protocol. We are having the club meeting on Friday. If by the time you see this video, I think the club meeting will already be concluded. So we'll update them with everything on the timeline of our work, and also the discussion with the government and the plans moving forward.
Right. So actually, just before we conclude on this topic, there's also an article going around in the press today. There's 5 provinces that are being prohibited to run their football matches. So can you just tell us the details on that?
Sure. So when we presented the plan to the COVID center, they actually wanted to call off all the matches in the red city region, not only the 5 severe ones. So it would have been, I think, 28 cities, and that is impossible for the league to get started. So I think eventually they ended up giving us the opportunity to play in the red zone cities such as Bangkok, Samut Prakan, Prachuap, Ratchaburi, right? But since the situation in the eastern part of the country is not really doing really great right now. Obviously, it's easing, but the government still needs some more time to control the outbreak there. They said that at least for the first few weeks, we should ask the club to play elsewhere. And of course, I think we are gonna work hand in hand with the clubs to try and find a solution for them. Maybe neutral venue could be an option here, and if the situation gets better, which I'm sure it will, they will have their own their football matches at home back in no time.
So obviously this will be discussed in further details in the club meeting, which Lorenzo have mentioned just now, and we'll bring you an update on our next video with the conclusions and topics that were discussed at the meeting to get you up into speed and understand the situation better in our next video on this Thai League Restart project.
So still with the club, but at the continental level then, right? So we're gonna talk about all you need to know about ACL 2021.
So just before we dive into this, a very important year for Thai clubs in ACL. This 2021. Obviously, just to start off, we have 4 clubs in this continental clubs championship. So we have BG Pathum United, and we have Port FC in the group stage, and we have Rajburi FC, and we have Chiang Rai United playing in the playoffs.
Correct.
Very excited, and in many years that we are going to have this many clubs in the ACL. So let's get started and discuss on the possibility of the draws and the mechanisms and what will be essential for the fans to know about the 4 clubs that will be playing in the ACL 2021.
All right. So as you said, this will be the first year that we get the increased slot allocation, and usually the slot allocation are determined on a bi-yearly basis. Right. So the 2021 and 2022 ranking was announced on 2019.
Yeah.
And this is a crucial year for all the Thai teams, as their performance really will,
be counted.
Yeah, be counted, and at the end of the year, AFC will use the ranking of this year to determine the slot allocation for 2023 and 2024.
Right.
The possibility is high that we are gonna still maintain the 2+2 slot, and to be honest, we are quite far behind the 3rd place in the East, which is Korea Republic. But we need to get going, and we need to start performing and closing the gap between the 2 countries. And I think with BG United, gearing up strikers and that defense,
huge investment. Yeah.
Who knows what can happen?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So very excited because they have really come up full strength. In the second leg of the Thai League, we'll see almost the full team with Diego and Teersil gearing up into speed. Let's just say that it will be great. A preparation for them, a preparation phase for them to really delve into the ACL once it commences in for the group stages is in the month of
the
May?
Group stage is scheduled in 21st of April,
right,
running to 7th of May, and it will be on a centralized format. The playoff will be on 14th of April. The preliminary stage was supposed to be on 7th of April, but we're not gonna play at that stage anymore. Due to the number of teams and such, so we're gonna start right in the playoff. So a little bit on that, the league, we are planning to finish the league in end of March and reschedule all of the FA Cup matches to be played in April, so that teams that are not involved in the FA Cup, they can finish the season earlier, and only teams that are through to the quarterfinals round will continue that path in the domestic cup tournament. So the FA final is scheduled to finish on 10th of April, and we want to finish everything so that our 4 teams can really focus on the ACL, try to do their best performance, and really showcase of Thai football this year round. So with this being in a centralized format, maybe we might even see it in Bangkok, right?
So, I mean, let's just ask the FA or the league, whether that is a possibility. But I'm sure that we have seen the centralized venue in Qatar in the ACL 2020 for East and West Zone, and in the Qatar delivered it in fantastic.
Yep.
I would say in great management, the organization, get the greatest compliment from the AFC. So I believe that. With the circumstances we are facing now with the COVID-19 and with the restriction and everything, the centralized venue is the best way to approach the group stages of the competition. And even though it was held in a centralized venue for last year, and the latter part of the competition, is still bring out some many good games and and good
amazing performance.
Especially that. So I'm very positive, and hopefully our Thai clubs, 2 of them in the prelim will also join BG and Port FC in the group stage as well.
Yes. So hopefully with the badminton held in a centralized format, in a bubble circumstances, actually at the meeting with the COVID center, they actually mentioned that this could be a role model for
Right.
other sports to follow too.
Yeah.
And if the club are interested, I think it's not bad to try.
Right. Yeah.
So hopefully we might be able to get the action here in Bangkok.
Yeah.
If not, we will still follow through with the live broadcast.
Yes. So anyhow, I think we already learned, that the BG and Port FC will be playing in a centralized venue, and there's starting to be questions popping up on whether the third and fourth place of Thai clubs, who will be playing in the prelim, is that going to be in a centralized venue, or is that going to be a home and away, or is that just one game off? So what?
From my knowledge, I think AFC only announced the centralized format for the group stage. There was a little bit tweak in the knockout stage from the usual calendar structure that they will play the round 16 in the first half of the year, then start the quarterfinal, semi-final, and the final in the later part of the year. But that is also changed.
Right.
So the round 16, quarterfinal, semi-final will be played in a single tied game, and will be held from September onwards. So that is one part. Coming back to the playoff games, currently it's still in home and away format, but it's still traveling, but we are going to be away most likely with the Korean teams. And I think the clubs is going to start preparation soon, discussion with the KFA and the visa arrangement, and then whether quarantine is mandatory or not, and that will surely be a big part of the decision whether AFC can still maintain the traveling format for the playoff.
So most likely the opponents for Rajbury and Chiang Rai will be a K-League teams.
Yep, and that's our ETF prediction.
Yeah, that's our ETF predictions, and basing from our thoughts and perspective, especially from my perspective, the Chiang Rai performance in the ACL 2020, they really came up big and had a big win. So we can really hope that they can emulate this performance again in this prelim playoff, and hopefully Rajbury also get their wins against a K-League team, whichever team that may be, and join the other two clubs in the group stage.
So Chiang Rai went to the playoff as a third place club from Thailand. So they'll be facing a weaker club,
right?
Comparing with the Rajbury, who finished fourth. They'll be facing the third club from Korea. And I think, like you said, maybe we have a chance to give it a shot.
Right.
Chiang Rai last time played in the playoff. I think they held Sanfrecce Hiroshima up until the extra time.
Yes, they did.
And they lost in the penalty shootout.
Yeah.
So that was a great performance, and we hope that they can,
recap that performance again. Yeah.
Sure. So now let's talk about the draw. The draw is gonna happen, I think, somewhere in January.
Yeah, I reckon it's on the 27th.
27th of January.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is the first time that the AFC has increased the group to 5 group per region, and still a group of 4. So increased from the 16 teams to 20 teams.
Yeah.
And a lot of new faces, coming into the Asian football now, with Singapore getting the direct slot. Philippines getting the direct slot, Vietnam as well, and Hong Kong instead of the DPR Korea. At least that's the prediction now. So what we might see is that the group stage might not be as tough as it used to be.
Right.
So last year I think we had a Chinese team, we had a Korean team, and an Australian team in the same group. Maybe this time around we might see, Thai club being paired with a Philippine team, one Korean, and maybe one China. So the possibility of going through
might be more than let's say maybe more than ever, from the previous ACL journey from a Thai club. So hopefully we'll get that, that draw that will really push our club to perform well in the group stage. And
we have the previous experience compared to other, countries our neighbor countries in ASEAN.
Yeah.
I think we're the longest one, playing in the ACL. We are getting used to it, performing well year by year.
Yeah.
And I think next year will be exciting of how the Thai clubs will do. And we will learn all about it on the 27th of January.
27.
Another thing I think we need to highlight on the group stage is actually the number of teams increased, but the slots to qualify to the knockout stage on the round 16 is still the same.
Yeah.
So that means now we have 5 groups,
Right.
4, but we only have 8 teams to go through, right? So the format will be the group winners of each group.
Right.
Let's say A, B, C, D, E. The winner of this will qualify, and the 3 best runner-ups
3 best runners up
from the
will
5 groups
also
to go
join
through.
them.
Yeah, that will make it a
round.
little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
On the later part of the group stage phase.
Yeah.
So every game counts, and from previously you just finished second and you go through, but this time around you have to really do your best.
Yeah.
And try to win it as a group winner.
Yes. So that will be a very exciting, must-watch ACL. For especially the Thai fans. As 4 Thai clubs are representing Thailand in ACL this year, so it's a must-watch, and we will all be eagerly waiting for the draw and learning the opponents of our clubs in ACL 2021.
And calendar-wise, I think it's perfect. You're gonna have full-packed Thai League games on February, March, and a little bit of the FA Cup games on the beginning of April. Then later part of it, you have centralized format of the ACL up until May. Right. So for those fanatic Thai football fans, I think that's gonna keep you busy at least until 4 months.
Make up for the the stoppage of the Thai League.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so this brings us to the last part of the today's episode, which is we talked about domestic club, we talked about international club. Now it's time for Changsuk.
Yes, Changsuk.
International national team competitions. So maybe Pote, you can share a little bit about the World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah. So obviously we have a game scheduled in March against Indonesia that we are looking forward to, but with the ongoing COVID situation both here in Thailand and Indonesia, so we are still working closely with PCSI, our counterpart, to figure out the best possible way to get this match up and running.
Yep.
So we have been in constant communication with our Indonesian partners, and they are also preparing on their front, and we are also preparing on our front, to get the confirmation and to deliver this match, as well as the preparation of our national teams to get this match running. Although taking in mind that if the situation does not get better, or PSSI decides to maybe because of the quarantine, 14 days quarantine imposement on international travelers,
that's a killer, isn't
it? That's a killer. So that may be an issue for them to travel here, and if that being the case, then we may see a postponement of this match again. But however, AFC and FIFA has already confirmed that all round 2 group stage qualifiers match will need to be completed by June of this year. So regardless of the situation or anything,
they're basically saying whatever you do, we don't care, but just finish before June.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is the way we are approaching this. So as you may already seen today on the some media outlet already saying the news that
we might be heading our way to Northeast.
Yes, exactly.
Region.
So I think the FA Thailand has expressed an interest to host the centralized venue for Group G matches.
Yep.
In Chang Arena, so Buriram Stadium.
So I think everyone in the group will be surely wanting to host the group. Whoever gets it, will be very lucky. You got to play all the matches remaining at home.
Yeah,
that's a huge advantage considering this is the last push before the round 3 finishes. So maybe a bit on the centralized venue, right? Actually, we when we were still planning on the resumption of the league, we had a demonstration match in Buriram, right?
And was Buriram against Khon-Kaen.
Yep. We are not gonna endorse the results.
Right. Okay.
That might get me into trouble, so we're gonna leave that part out. But anyway, we had a chance to discuss with the Buriram United president himself, and the groundsman people, the general manager of the club. They're really eager to have those matches to be held in Buriram to showcase how great the city is, and especially with the green light of hosting a bubble quarantine kind of thing by the government. We might have a really good shot on showcasing our readiness of the stadium. They have plenty of training sites. They have plenty of international experience hosting the games. Let it be Champions League, the Asian Cup qualifiers.
Most recently,
recently, the Under 23 Championship, and they did a really good job on delivering the tournaments. And I think it's one of the venues where you go to AFC and say, okay, we're gonna play in Buriram Stadium. They're not going to even ask what stadium is it, or they're not even think about inspecting the stadium, because they know it very well. So I think despite other countries, having same interests,
right?
Maybe we might get a real shot on this. But what's your takeaway on this?
So definitely, as you have already mentioned, if we really get the opportunity to have the centralized venue in Buriram, it will be a plus for us. So, and also it's an opportunity for Buriram to showcase their capability to hold an international event despite the COVID outbreak, with the introduction and the implementation of the biosecure bubble quarantine. So that will be very exciting to see, and hopefully it will be a model to be used if the FC approves and proceed with having the rest of the competitions in the centralized format. So because as of right now, nothing is set in stone. It's in a preliminary discussion among the parties concerned. As Lorenzo mentioned just now, there are different countries that mentioned their interest to have this centralized format in their country. Especially yesterday we talked about Malaysia, and we also a couple of days ago we heard about China. So it's important to note that nothing has been set in stone. This is the preliminary discussion, and hopefully there will be more news soon on this.
But I think it would make sense to have it in Thailand, considering the logistical wise of it. We are right in the middle of every country. It won't be really sensible to go all the way to Dubai for other 4 countries, And we have a great accommodation, great food, and I think most of the teams in our group has actually been in Buriram before. Right? UAE has played there.
Exactly.
Vietnam has played there in the Kings Cup, and Malaysia played there also during the Asian Cup qualifiers
against DPRK. And it's a neutral venue,
so everybody knows it. Not only AFC, but the teams know the venue as well. But we still have to wait and see what AFC comes up next. Maybe they have other concern in mind, and so anyway, I think we still have a long way to go about it.
Exactly.
And the best thing now is to wait patiently and still prepare for everything. But I think my personal opinion on this might be a little bit hard to play the match in March, considering the Indonesia League just got cancelled. They don't have any players ready. They didn't play any competitive matches for a long time, and they just got their, I think, training camp trip in Spain cut short
because they couldn't find an opponent to play their friendly. So I think that the training camp got cut short.
They're not really in the best place to play the matches now. And I think it would make sense for them to postpone the game, but again, that's not up to the FA or anyone to decide. But the discussion between the two MAs but my prediction is that it might go all the way to June and into a centralized format. And I just hope it will be Thailand.
Same as me.
So we're gonna have an away trip to Buriram and get some good football.
Yes, exactly. And very good period to enjoy the national team matches that we have been missing for so long. Competitive matches.
Yep.
Yeah.
And another pumped up in the calendar for the Thai football fans.
Yeah.
For national team action in June.
Yeah.
That would be very exciting to see our Changsek plays all the 3 matches at home.
Yeah.
And possibly go through to the final round.
Yes, hopefully.
All right. So I think that wraps up for tonight.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit comment to the fans.
Yeah. So first and foremost, thank you for following us on all the platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also the highlights on YouTube and the previous interview we did with Tom Beer, Mano, and Sumare and Bacho. So appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy this video. Give us the support, comments, and subscribe. You want to talk with us, or you want any topics that you want us to discuss, just let us know in the comments below and we will get back to you.
And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah.
And share this video. Start building a community of Thai football fans together.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you have to be Thai or not. You can be from anywhere. Just share the same passion and we are good to go. So I think we're done for tonight, and see you next Friday with the Friday Night Talk with everything Thai football.
Thank you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you next time.
See you. Bye.
Bye.